So we're learning chapter 42 in Tanya. So the Alter Rebbe says, page Nun Tes, the Alter Rebbe says that the Yira Tato, the Kabbalah soil, that itself has to be predicated because, the Avas Hashem, your love for God, needs to be predicated on Yira, on Kabbalah soil. Why do I put on tefillin? Because God said so. Not because I love God. You love God as a side, it's a side fact. Good, very good. I'll give you a big award for, and what's the reason? Why must we say, Chevra, why must we say that the Yiritz, that the Av itself must be predicated on the Yira? And the reason is because Ava brings with it the I, the Yesh. I love. In Yira, the I is squashed. Or better said, the I is suspended. Right? I fear him. And because I fear him, I put myself in a little corner. Don't see me, I'm scared. So the I is suspended. So Yira is more pure, i.e. less yesh, less I, when it comes to serving Hashem. There's an expression in Chassidus, Ava is greater in quantity, but Yira is greater in quality. And the way we sum it up is Yira is deeper, omek, depth. Depth doesn't express itself how much territory you conquer. Depth expresses itself in the quality of the conquering. What's the quality of the conquering, Chaim Zev, when it comes to Yira? That the I is squashed. There's less I. There's less yesh. That's quality. That's depth. When it comes to Ava, you'll notice that the I is very much potent in the experience. And if you think of Ava and Yira this way, it's so true in relationships with spouses and children and employers and all types of relationships. You have to ask yourself, sit back, is my relationship based on Ava or is it based on Yira? So the average person will say, love, I love, I'm falling in love, I am in love, I'm out of love, I'm in love, right? If you learn Chassidus, you learn these chapters here, you understand that's all I'm not going to use the word fallacy, because it's not a fallacy always, but it's not the ultimate. The ultimate is respect, which is an element of Yira. If you respect someone, you really love them. If you don't respect them, at the end of the day, you love yourself, not them. And they happen to fulfill what you need, what you want. And it's that way in marriage, it's that way in business, right? How many people, I told you, how many people could say, I love what I do, and I even get paid for it, right? But first, I love what I do. You really love what you do? Or you love yourself, but you really would prefer doing something else. This is the difference, klali, between Avas Hashem, Ava, Moshe, Ava, the notion of love, and the notion of Yira. And that's why the Balatanya says here that in chapter 41, he says that the Ava itself must be predicated on the Yira for the Ava to be genuine. And if not, it's not genuine. Doesn't mean you're a bad guy. It doesn't mean you're not doing the right thing. Could you imagine? You see someone who 365 a year, 24/7 is doing the right thing, and yet he's missing the nekuda. Doesn't make him a bad guy. He's doing the right thing. The script is right. The prescription is right. You know what's missing? The soul is missing. We'll talk about that later in this chapter. And that's really, we have an artist, that's really what art is. I can draw the same circles and lines that Moshe draws. I'll draw a circle and I'll draw a line. And I can even imitate his drawing. I'm not saying I can, but someone can, right? But guess what? If you're not a real artist, that art from that person who drew circles and lines and was able to put them together is worthless. It's garbage. Why? It's the same circles, the same lines, because the soul doesn't come through. The soul is what makes the artist's art. And this art and the soul is not created by lines and circles. The soul is created by soul. And if you live with soul and you experience soul, you can share soul. And everyone in their way. Let's say, it's a physician. You come in, and you come into one doctor, and he's very, stodgy. I just learned a new word yesterday, stodgy. Dull, it means dull. I think the word is stodgy. Anyway, forgive me if I have the wrong word. Anyway, and he's, what?
It's an old English word, yeah.
Yeah.
It's an old English word, stodgy.
Okay, stodgy, thank you. If someone else is maybe another physician, comes in, he doesn't know as much. He smiles, he makes you feel at home. Most people will gravitate to the one who is with a smile and a warmth. Hello, how are you? Even though the other person might be a bigger doctor, know more, and all that. Because what we're looking for in a relationship is the soul, the nekuda. The technicalities are important. As we know, if you go to a doctor who we call a shuster, what a shuster is? A shoe repairman. He knows how to repair you. He has good a set of hands. And sometimes that's necessary. But many times when you visit a physician and the smile itself is chatzi refuah. It's half of the refuah. I just heard yesterday from someone, I met him in the street, the Lubavitch, he told me he was at NYU once, and there was, in the waiting room, the emergency room, there was a woman, a Hasidic woman, with the total, kupkis and the covers and all that. And he saw that something wasn't right, so he asked her. So she said she's been waiting in the emergency room for hours. So he said, "Did you eat?" She said, "No, I haven't eaten all day." So he says, "I'm also hungry. I'm going to the cafeteria, and there's a kosher cafeteria there, and I'm buying food. I want to bring you back some food, or you can come with me." And he was shocked that she said, "I'll actually come with you." You understand, going from one hospital in NYU up there on, Fifth Avenue at the end, to the cafeteria, you have to go through tunnels. And usually Hasidic women don't like to walk through tunnels with men. But she did it. She did it. He told me this last night. This is fresh off the press. So, and it's a long walk from the emergency room to the cafeteria. And silence, it's like, here is this rabbi and this Hasidic woman, and it's like, it was impossible not to make some conversation, because otherwise it would be like, oy vey, walking silently in tunnels, okay? So he says to her, how you're waiting so many hours, and, there's all kinds of noises, and people are sick, emergency room. It's not fun. So she says to him, and this is I want to share with you, she says to him, the waiting itself helps the refuah, the healing. The waiting itself, amongst all the everyone that is in an emergency room, the emunah, that belief that this is what Hashem wants, and I'm here because of an emergency, and I have to wait amongst all these people, that itself, she said to him, is part of the refuah. I thought it was very powerful. So why am I sharing it? Because in every experience, it's the soul. See, so that would be the kind of the soul of the emergency room waiting. Right? There's waiting. You got to wait in line. There's emergencies. You like it, you don't like it, you got to wait. But when you understand the neshama, the soul, you understand there's something much deeper happening here, that itself is solace. That itself already gives you part of the refuah. Moshe, your turn. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I was just going to go back to, we were talking about the issue of happiness.
No, I spoke about love and fear, love and awe, ava and yira.
Right. You brought up the question of a person, does he enjoy what he does?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to say, like, oftentimes, a person may not necessarily find what they do is enjoyable. Depends. Some parts are not enjoyable. It could be lots of parts, but they could be getting a lot of sipuk, tremendous amount of satisfaction, that they're using their skills to do something.
And so
I bring it up because you mentioned a few minutes ago, we were discussing the issue of like, we don't just do something because, I don't remember exactly, I'm paraphrasing what you said.
yeah,
But we don't just, let's say, do something because it makes us happy.
I know, but I brought that, as an example for the concept that the yira has to be the foundation of the ava, which means that the doing of work, if it's the right thing to do, even if you're lacking the excitement, but it's the right thing, it'll bring good results. That's one nakuda that I brought. Then I brought another nakuda. I brought a few points. Then I brought a point of the example of the person who imitates the artist by drawing the circles and the lines, but the soul is not there. That's another aspect, right? So what you're saying is that even if you don't, if I understand you correctly, it seems to be a contradiction what you're saying, because if you're getting sipuk, if you're getting satisfaction, sipuk means satisfaction. That's what you use. You use the word sipuk. That means you love doing it. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I'll give you an example. Maybe I'll give you a little bit of an example of what I'm talking about. People have been asking us since the war started to say, "Oh, your son's in Gaza. Your son's, in like the front of the combat. Is he?" They ask like, how's he doing? People say like, is he? They'll say, is he happy? But they're like, is he like? I don't know. I'm trying to remember now how people said it. I guess people didn't, some people said, was he, I don't remember exactly what people said.
Can I suggest, because I have the same situation where they ask you, how's his spirits? How are his spirits? How is he feeling? That kind of thing?
Moshe, just a second. Hang on one second. Let me just finish. So what I respond to people is, you know what, he has a lot of, there's a lot of,
satisfaction, sipuk.
Sipuk, there's a lot of, he feels that he's using his skills, and the motivation is very high.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember they use the word sipuk. Now I'm trying. Now
Okay,
I'm
but the point being, go ahead. The point being,
yeah. The point being, I guess the point is simply that, and I'm trying. Many times, we're doing something and we don't necessarily enjoy it.
okay. So, but if it's the right thing to do, exactly.
We're good at it. But by doing the right thing, there's a certain it reinforces in us a certain.
Okay, so that would be so that's fine. So that's an example of what Alter Rebbe said in chapter 41, that if you have Kabbalah soil, this needs to be done now. It's the right thing. But you're adding a caveat, I think, and I told you the Rebbe Rashab talks about it, and we should learn that continuum of Maimorim one day. He talks about the servant who serves the master and does what the master wants, but also has satisfaction. That's what we call in the Rashab's language, Eved Ne'eman, a loyal servant. But before that, there is what we call Eved Pashut, a simple servant. Simple servant means, you want me to do this, I do it. I don't think about, I do enjoy it, I don't enjoy it, I do care. I know you're my master, I have fear for you, and if you want me to do it, I'm there. That's called Eved Pashut. Then there is Eved Ne'eman. Eved Ne'eman, a loyal servant, does it and understands why he's doing it. That's a different type of Eved. So it could be that what you're expressing is more of the Eved Ne'eman type. Anyway, let's get back to the text, okay?
Okay.
Let's go. So up there, based on what we learned in chapter 41, it will be well understood. Mashakosov b'Gemara al Posik, quote, "Ve'ata Yisrael," and now Jews, "Ve'ata Yisrael," now Yidden. What does God want of you? A very little thing. I only ask a little thing of you. To fear me, fear him. That's the way you're supposed to read it. Is fear, is yira, a small change in our language. Milsa sutrasi is some small thing. Answer the Gemara. That's the Gemara's question. Answers the Gemara. Ein, not in. Ein. Not ein means no. In means yeah. How is it a small thing? Fearing God. L'gabe Moshe. In regards to Moshe Rabeinu, milsa zutrasihi v'chulu, etc. It's a small thing. Asks the Balatanya, the no-brainer. The lechura ain't moving. Seemingly, this is totally not understood, this piece of Gemara. Hatiritz, the answer of the Gemara, the Gemara is asking, it says in the Torah of Ati Yisrael, Ma'ashem L'kecha shoyel me'imach. What does God want of Chaim Zev? Not Moshe Rabeinu, Chaim Zev. What does the Gemara answer? Chaim Zev. You know why it's easy by you? Because it's easy for Moshe Rabeinu. Har Sinai. What's the connection between the Shemitah and the Har Sinai, Parsa Bahar, the Rashi? In other words, one have to do with the other. I'm Chaim Zev. I'm not Moshe Rabbeinu. That's the question of the Balatanya, chapter 42 in Tanya. So the Alter Rebbe now answers his own question. Hello. The idea is ki kol nefesh for nefesh mebeis Yisrael, every single Jew, every single neshama, yesh ba mibchinas Moshe Rabbeinu ol vasholem. It has an element of Moshe in it. Hi Chaim Zev with the Moshe Rabbeinu inside yourself. Hi Moshe with the Moshe Rabbeinu. Everyone has a little Moshe. Kihu, because Moshe Rabbeinu is Meshivirayim Hillel. He's amongst the 7 shepherds. Hamamshichim Chayas or Leikus that draw down godly energy Licholos Neshamas Yisrael to all Neshamas. It's a rule, Chavre, that there's 7 Avram, Yitzchak, etc., right? Avram is Chesed, and Yitzchak is Gvura, and Yaakov is Rachamim, on and on. Who's the Sheva? The Shvi? Moshe Rabeinu. So Moshe Rabeinu at the end is the one who was given the task, and he draws down godliness to every single Yid. Avram gives every one of us chesed. Yitzchak gives every one of us gevura. What does Moshe give? Hamshachas, look at the words. He draws down chayes veliklus lecholos Yisrael. That's why all the 7 are called shepherds. Moshe Rabeinu klolos kulam. Yet Moshe Rabeinu is the general one, the one that represents all 7. V'nikre raya mehemne, and Moshe Rabeinu is called loyal shepherd, faithful shepherd. Raya means roeh, it's Aramaic, mehemne, neman. In other words, we don't call Avram the roeh neman. We don't call Yitzchak the roeh neman. Specifically, only Yaakov is called the roeh neman. And so only Moshe Rabbeinu. The Hainu, says the Alter Rebbe, why? The Hainu, shemamshich b'chinas hadas l'chlolos Yisrael. You know why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu, it's not, we made it before, general statement, he draws down godliness to every Jew. In what particular way? Through Daas. What is Daas? Focus and concentration. Leides Hashem kolechot lefi asogas nishmosei. He gives every Jew the ability to know God. Not just to believe in God, but to know Him. To understand Him. And therefore, every Yid's source and his nourishment in this aspect of knowing God comes from Moshe Rabeinu, hamushreshes b'das elyon, which is rooted in the supernal das, shebi yutzvinas datzilis. This is the technical place where this issue of das is formed in the yutzvinas of Atzilus and the 10 spheres of Atzilus. Hamiyuchodes b'matzilim baruch hu, and because they're spheros, therefore they're united with their maitzil, meaning their creator, but in the world of Atzilus we call it maitzil, we don't call it borei. Shehu v'daita echad, Hashem and his das echad are one. V'hu amada, and he is the knower and the knowledge, as we quoted in chapter 2 in Tanya and in another place, that the Eibush, for the Rambam, Hashem is the knower, the knowing, and the thing that's known, and all that. It's all one. So who gives a Jew this idea of Das? Moshe Rabbeinu. And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu is called Roya Neman. So I point out to you something very interesting and important to know. That all the other 6 shepherds, the 6 Royim, are Gavaldik. They're our shepherds, right? They're giving us something, but they're not giving us the key. The key is given to us by Moshe Rabbeinu. As it says in Zohar, he probably quotes it later. The key is given to the midos, right? There's the 6 midos. Is the mafteach to open up the heart is through das. Chesed won't do it. Gvura won't do it. Chesed will only do chesed, and Gvura only do Gvura, and Rachman do Gvura. But what key do you have to open up all the pipes? Das. And what's das? To understand God. And who gives us das? Moshe Rabbeinu. And that's why he's called the faithful shepherd. He's not called the faithful shepherd. People make a mistake. According to the Alter Rebbe, it's a mistake. That faithful shepherd means he gives emunah. Yes, he gives emunah, but it's the emunah predicated on das. It's not Hillel, an emunah. One second. Don't jump. It's not an emunah that's kind of a childish emunah. I believe. Everyone believes. What do you believe? What do you know to believe? Right? You need to know to believe. That although you know and understand, belief is even greater. But if you don't know, your belief is rudimentary. So the Alter Rebbe says here that the Moshe Rabbeinu is called Roa Nemon, the faithful shepherd, because he instills Daas in every single Jew. Isser, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I would understand if it all came through Tiferes, Yaakov, or through Yosef from Yisod, through the central column, and now we say that Das is above Tiferes and Yisod, but Moshe is Netzach. How do we stem that?
No, that's you're counting the spheros. What you're doing, which is correct.
Right. So we have the 7 shepherds, and each one of them is connected, an energy representative of us, right?
That's one calculation and one observation, which is true. But that's not
And
what is...
Moshe is connected the energy of Netzach.
Right. That's when you're looking at the spheros. We're not looking at the spheros. We're looking at another aspect. Your cheshbon and your thinking is correct, and it's brought down in Kabbalah and Chassidus when we look at the spheros. We're not looking at the spheros. We're looking now at the royim as they are only 7, not 10. There's 10 spheros. So how does it match with the 7? And in this cheshbon and in this perspective, the Zohar HaKodesh, this is not Alter Rebbe's Chiddush, this comes from the Zohar, calls Moshe Rabbeinu Raya Mehemna. So the Alter Rebbe is asking, why is he called Raya Mehemna? Now, it could be, I would have to, look further, it could be that the aspect of Netzach is also associated with the Raya Mehemna. Actually, I remind myself, that's what it says in Basi Legani. In Basi Legani, it says that Netzach is the most powerful thing. Why? Because endurance and perseverance is more powerful than anything else. And as well,
I think that may be the key, is if it's endurance or eternity and perseverance, it's from Moshe, it comes down to every Jew in every generation.
Okay. So
Make that association.
Okay, so in Basi Legani, by the way, over the years, the Rebbe said it from 1951 to the 1980s, especially the last 10 years, he spoke a lot about the Netzach. And in the last mimer that we consider the last will and testament before he became ill, the Atat Tetzaveh, which they published as like the last mimer of the Rebbe, although it was said in 1981, way before he became ill, there is conversation about Emunah and Daas. I don't recall if he focuses on Netzach. But what I'm saying is here, the Alter Rebbe here, I don't see him tackling that issue. He's not coming from that issue. He's talking now about the Shiva Royim, the 7 shepherds, and why Moshe Rabbeinu is called Raya Mehemna and the others aren't. And his answer is because Moshe Rabbeinu is Mamshech Das L'chol Yisrael. And Das is the key to faith. That's what it says here in Tanya. So it seems to me that he's going on a different trajectory than what you mentioned, Isser, which is another way of dealing. I'm not dealing with the issue, but not as the issue pertains to what we're learning here. Here he asked a very simple question. It says that every Jew should fear me, fear God, and it's simple and it's easy. And the Gemara says, yes, for Moshe it's easy. So the Baal Tanya asks, how could that be? What does Moshe have to do with me? And the answer is, every one of us has a little Moshe in it. Then he goes out to say, you know how great this Moshe that you have is, and why you need Moshe Rabeinu. In other words, by explaining here that what Moshe does, it justifies the Gemara. In other words, the Alter Rebbe is explaining a Gemara, so we have to understand the Gemara. There might be other explanations in the Gemara, but the Alter Rebbe's explanation of the Gemara is that why does the Gemara say it's easy for Chaim Zev to have Yira because it's easy for Moshe? And the answer he says is because he has a part of Moshe in him. How does he have a part of Moshe? So then and this is going to be much of this chapter, he's going to open it up and show very much that Moshe Rabeinu is in the consciousness and the reality of every Jew. And we'll continue tomorrow talking about it more. Have a great day. Sei gesund. Bye-bye.